So, good morning. Today I'm going to talk briefly about how to make a conditional administrative select in Excel. This is kind of one of the core pieces of the 3W or 4W data that we collect in response. Knowing where you are and being able to share that accurately with partners and with the government and other responders is pretty important. A couple of key concepts. So P codes or place codes are unique identifiers assigned to the different administrative areas in a country that provide a unique code that is associated with only one of them and allows you to make sure that you are talking about the same place. The spelling of a particular area might vary slightly or change over time. So having the P codes is a sure way to make sure that you're referring to the same place. And also, given that the individual names of places can vary, I mean, it can be the same. Just like in the U.S., we have multiple Springfields. A village name might repeat multiple times across a country. So the final product, if you've looked at the example linked through the walkthrough, will be a table, and you can go through, and we're going to use Haiti as an example. Select a, what is it, a district or something. Anyway, the top level administrative area. It's not clicking now. And then it will automatically populate the place code. And allow you to select the next level from within that level. So the first thing we need is a data set of administrative areas. The Humanitarian Data Exchange, data.humdata.org, is a great place to find these data sets. It's promoted by OCHA as kind of the place to go for common operational data sets that include these administrative areas. So if we search Haiti, filter by CODS, common operational data sets, these are the key core data sets used for any operation. We can see here on the first page the Haiti administrative boundary levels. If we click into that, we can see here the full level with all three, department, commune, and section communals. We can download that. And this, if we unzip it and look at it, is actually a shapefile. So a shapefile consists of multiple files that allow you to open it in a GIS. And we don't need all the geographic information. We don't need the descriptions of like the boundaries and where those actually are in geographic space. We just need the attributes about the names and the place codes. So there's this neat online tool called MapShaper that we can use to change the shapefile into a CSV, comma separated values file with just the attribute data. So we can take the zip file that we downloaded and drag it to the screen here. We can just leave the default settings, click import. Here we can see that it's now showing us the boundaries. But if we go to export in the top right here, we can change it to CSV, which is a non-geographic format. Hit export. I'm going to save it to that same place, my downloads folder. And then once that's done, we can open that up and see that it is not what I was expecting. So I downloaded the wrong file. So I'm instead downloading just the admin 3 level boundaries. I'm going to try with that, refresh the map shaper page to get back to the import page. And then if we export this one, here we go. Yeah. So this one has the attributes we're looking for. You can see that this includes admin codes, P codes, and also the names of places. The way admin P codes work is that level 0 is the country. So here we can see admin 0 English is Haiti. The code is just HT. And then each progressive level builds on that. So our admin 1, the names are here, and we can see the codes are there. We're going to create a new Excel file and create a sheet to hold our admins selection data. And the first thing we need is we need those admin 1 levels. So we're going to copy the admin 1 code and the admin 1 English and paste that into our new workbook. And this one, because it's the top level, we don't need to use anything to like filter what we're showing the user. We only need the codes for that level. We don't need any higher level codes. This is going to be our select list that we populate using this. So we need unique values only, not all these duplicates. So I'm going to select the full set of data. And in Excel, there's an option, depending on what version you have, Windows or Mac, and if you have an older version, it'll be in a different place. But there should be a remove duplicates option. And so I can go to that. My list does have headers, so I have that checked. And I want it to compare using both column A and B. If I hit OK, you can see it leaves 11 unique values and removes 560 duplicates. And then I'm just going to real quick sort by the name so that it shows up alphabetically in the drop-down later. So now we need our next level, admin 2. And this time, actually need both the admin 1 code and the admin 2 code, because we're going to be using the admin 1 code to filter what we show the user for the options for the admin for the next level. I don't think I copied enough. I need to add this as well. So copied over a number of different columns, but then I'm deleting out the ones I don't need, and organizing. So it's the higher level code, the name of the current level we're looking at, and then the code for that current level. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the admin 3 code, English, and admin 2 code. And then now that I've copied all this over, the same remove duplicates that I performed on the top level, I'm going to do also on these two. And when we try and remove duplicates on the lowest level, the admin 3, it's going to tell us that there's no duplicate values, and that makes sense because they should all be unique at that point. Okay. So then one of the final steps for this page, we need to group things by the containing administrative area. So we're going to select, I'm just hitting on Mac, Command A, Control A to select all of the data that's grouped together here. Then I'm going to sort, and I'm going to sort by the admin1 code, and then alphabetically by the admin2 that are within that admin1, just to make it a little bit easier for the user when the dropdown appears. And I'm going to do the same thing for this final set of things. Okay. And so now we've got all of the data that we need. And in Excel, you can create named ranges to make it easier to reference cells or tables within your sheet and within your workbook. So we're going to create some named ranges to simplify our formulas. And so let's start. We're just, the top cell, the column header for each of these codes, we're going to give a name, just admin1 start, admin2 start. So I'm going to select D1, and here in the top left, right now it's saying D1. I'm going to change that to admin1 start. And then H1, I'm going to change to admin2 start. And then close that. That's and then all the values in column D, and Command Shift, and then Command Shift and down on Mac. I think it's Control Shift and then down on Windows. You can select a cell and then everything until there's a blank cell. So I'm selecting that full, not the full column, including all the blanks going down to the end of the entire file, but all of the data values. And then I'm giving it a name of admin1 codes. And then the same thing for the H column, Control Shift down to select everything until that last value cell there. And then this one, calling it admin2 codes. And so now we can see in our drop down here for the named ranges with it admin1 codes, admin1 start, admin2 codes, admin2 start, and this will help us out later. So now we're ready. We're going to create our sheet. We're just going to call it like data, and then we have a admin1 admin1 code, admin2 code, admin3 code. And for to create a drop-down select, we go to data in the top menu bar, and there's an option for validation. And in the data validation menu that pops up under settings, we can change to allow a list, and then we can select a source. So here we're going to go press that little button in the corner to go back to our workbook, go to our admins sheet, and then we want to select that list of top-level admins. And here, so you can see in the formula for our data, it says equals admins exclamation mark, which is referencing that sheet. The dollar signs before the A, the 2, and the A and the 11 are saying that even if we copy and paste that validation to a different cell, that the reference source data will not change. It will always be A2 through A11. And in cell dropdown, and then just OK. And so now we can see that that cell has when we select it, has a little arrow dropdown option, and we can select from those admin ones. So I'm just going to go ahead and select, we'll just say north. And so for the admin one code, we're going to use a VLOOKUP. So if we start typing a formula equals and then VLOOKUP, and here it shows you, has help, a little help window that pops up that shows you what parameters it's expecting. So the first one is a lookup value. So we want to use this A2 cell, the admin one name, as the lookup value, then a comma to go to our next parameter. And the table array is the data that we're going to go to look up that data and pull something new. So we want to look up north and grab the admin one code from this data A2 through B11 on this second page. And we don't want that to change, so we're going to go in and add dollar signs before each of those, the A, the 2, the B, and the 11, so that will never change. Column index number is what it's pulling from, what column it's pulling the new value from. So that's the second column. And range lookup, if we just set this to false, it means it's looking for an exact match. So it won't, if it finds like NO, like Nottingham, it won't think that that's close enough and return the value. It will look for exactly north. And then after hitting enter, we can see that that formula is working correctly and it's pulling in that HT03, which is the P code for north there. Okay, so the next one, it gets a little bit more complicated. So admin 2, we only want to show the names that are within HT03. So in the walkthrough Google Doc, it gives us a formula here that begins offset and then admin 1 start and then match B2 admin 1 codes, 0. So what this is doing is it's taking that value, it's going to be taking that value, in this case HT03, and looking for it in that admin 1 codes range. So it's going to go down and find it, HT03, and then only return values that are in alignment with that. So it'll give us, the formula basically finds this HT03 in this column, and then we'll return all the values next to that for our validation dropdown. So here, I'm going to copy that formula from here, go to this C2 cell for our admin 2, go up to data, validation, choose list. I'm going to just uncheck ignore blank so it doesn't give me a lot of errors when it's waiting for input. And then I'm going to copy this in. And if your columns for your administrative areas are not in columns A through E, or like you have a 4th admin level, you just need to mess around with like the numbers here. So change it to admin 2, admin 3 start or whatever, and also B2 might change based on what this is filling in. And then we hit OK, and now we can see that École du Nord down to Saint Raphael, and if we look, we can see that it's those values there. So we can now check cap Haitian. So admin 2 code, again, the names now within admin 2 might possibly repeat. There might be one of these names that occurs in more than one, in north and south potentially. So we need to not just do a straight VLOOKUP, because that might return the P code for the incorrect name. We need to do a modified VLOOKUP that includes some of that same offset formula work that was used to get the list of names. So that also is in the walkthrough. And I don't have these formulas memorized. I just look up from past examples whenever I need to recreate this. So I paste that in, and it's using both that admin1 code and the name to go and look up the admin2 code for this level. And then admin3 is just repeating what we just did for admin2. And I've given the modified validation formula, select the E2 cell, go to data, validation. I want a list. I can copy in that formula, hit OK, and then we can see HT0311. If we look at our data, there are 3 of these admin3 options for this particular level, and we see those same 3 show up here. We can select one, and then the admin3 P code, again using the offset and the modified VLOOKUP to pull in that admin3 code. And so now we've got our basic structure here. And to make it a little bit easier to add new rows and to copy things, we can make this into a table. Again, this will vary depending on your version of Excel, but you can change just a basic range into a table. And here I'm selecting my table has headers because it does, hitting OK. And what this will do, it'll provide some automatic styling, which is kind of nice. Will also allow you to give it a name. So if you create pivot tables, you can reference the table, and even if the table expands, the pivot table will automatically reference the full data. You don't have to adjust the data source. Here we're just going to add another column, date, and activity. We'll pretend that we're getting ready to create a full 4W. November 1. And what's convenient about this is if you type in a value on the next line in one of these cells, it'll automatically extend the table. So in the lower right here, there's a little blue notch that's showing the bottom right extent of the table. You can drag that out to extend the table, or if I type in like 2 November here, you can see it'll jump down and automatically add another row. And it's nice. It copies down the any validation and any formulas as well. So here we can see that we can go in and select our admins for the next one, and it will go down and fill out those admin codes for us. If we're getting a volunteer or somebody to fill this out, or just somebody who's doesn't have to deal with these admin codes, they're useful for making maps, for doing GIS work, but not always necessary when you're just looking at the data. We can very easily hide these columns and just save some space and clean up the sheet for when people are looking at it. And that, and even with the hidden cells, it still, all the formulas still work. Are there any questions? We had a few more people join. If people had a chance ahead of time to look at the walkthrough, um, or if any questions about like use cases for this and stuff like that, I'd be happy to answer those now. Eva in the chat asks, have you ever set it up so you can do both? One, choose admin one to find admin two, and two, select admin two to get admin one options. No, I haven't. So like, I guess like if you wanted to select, like Springfield and find all the states where Springfield is in the United States, haven't done like the lookup in the reverse direction. So like P codes, because they're additive, like the P code for admin two has like the admin one P code on the front. Presumably you could, like you'd work in reverse pretty easily. So just present them the full list of admin twos, and then when they select a name, I guess because you get more than, yeah, I'm not sure that's I have to think about that more, how to make that work. Good question. Okay, thanks for joining. The recording will be made available later on the exchange and as a link on YouTube. Also, the walkthrough will remain available. The link is in the calendar invite. Feel free to also send me a message if you have questions or need help. And take care. Thanks, everyone.